Well, I think at the end of the day, what I want to tell everybody is that they haven't figured it out. Life is very, very short and life is very precious. It's very fragile. And really, we give hours away not feeling good about ourselves, not chasing things. And really, the biggest thing is to try to, again, do your very best, live as honorably and as passionately and as joyfully as you can, and be true. Authentic means be true to who you are, and move away if you're giving away too much of your life to things that don't fuel you, don't set you on fire, and don't bring you joy.
Welcome to Authentic Energy, a podcast dedicated to getting to the bottom of what it means to be your true, authentic self at work. I am your host, Wendy Brand. Let's take this learning journey together as I meet with guests weekly. Whether you are a leader or individual contributor, a teacher or a nurse, we'll share conversations and stories that highlight meaningful connections, self-awareness, a sense of belonging, and all the components necessary to create a workplace where you can show up in your authentic energy. Welcome back to Authentic Energy. I'm Wendy Brand, the host and founder of the Authentic Energy podcast. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm so glad you're here. This is officially my 1-year anniversary, and I have the perfect guest to mark this milestone. Over the past 30 plus years, few of San Antonio's most prestigious and substantial projects and events have not been touched by the expert hand of Janet Holliday. Janet embodies a rare combination of strategic vision, entrepreneurial spirit, tremendous leadership skills, and the can-do attitude that it takes to plan, position, promote, and produce some of the most successful large-scale marketing events in San Antonio, Texas, and around the world. When I met Janet in 1997, we were planning for the 1998 Final Four. She was on a committee and volunteering her time to put together what then became one of the most spectacular hospitality events for the NCAA Final Four events. I have had the pleasure to stay in touch with her over the years, to watch her career blossom. I even pitched in and worked with her team some on some events that she held. And so I am excited to dive into this conversation with her today. A little bit more about her is that she is really a passionate businesswoman with decades of creative bravery, which you'll hear more about on this episode. And she's grown her company, the CE Group, to offer 5 core services of experience-based marketing expertise. It's events, destination management, communications, venue consulting, and creative. This depth and breadth of services, combined with the style, organization skills, positive work ethic, and radical customer dedication that are the foundation of the company culture, has positioned the CE Group as the leader in this industry. And you'll hear more about some recent awards that they have won. And I'm going to put this full bio in the show notes because there are really a lot of accolades. Janet Holliday individually and her team at the CE Group just continue to impress. But without further ado, I'm excited for you to hear this very meaningful conversation with Janet Holliday. Enjoy. Janet, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
We've worked together for a really long time, and I have just been so impressed with your success and just continuity, really, is what when I think about you and your business, just how consistently you guys are just performing at such a high level. So what would you say is the biggest contributor to your success?
Well, personally, for me, I would say that my success really is because I don't chase success. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it for a second, in the world we live in, success is a very external word. You're successful if you have a good job or the right house or a good husband or children or awards or whatever you're chasing. But that is very hard to sustain. And I think it's why a lot of people never feel it's enough. They feel that they're worn out. They feel that they're not enough. And so I did all of that. I chased success, and usually most of the time, like most of us, even with my energy, I was exhausted. And it's when I began to say it's can't be external. I have to own it internally, that I'm the one that gets to decide for me, what does that mean? What does that look like? And that's when things really changed for me, because I began to really see success as more living a life of significance, living a life of value, and what I wanted that to be. And when I quit chasing it, I think I began to do more mindful living. I began, ironically, to feel better about me and what I wanted in life, what brought me happiness. But I began to realize I showed up better in the world too, because I think people can tell that you're living with that kind of true, authentic energy that inspires you and gives you synergy.
Yeah, that's great, Janet. And one of the things that I've talked about here on the show and that I've really discovered in the last year since starting the podcast is just how important your values are. And that
Right.
when you're living with kind of your values as your compass, it really can take you a long way. And like you, I started out really chasing, success was a value that I was chasing. And I think a lot of people do that early on in their career.
Absolutely. It's just, and the world wants you to, because it's
Yes.
that notch in it's your path, and, each
Yes.
notch in the belt or climbing the mountain. But again, usually at the expense sometimes of you in that
Yes.
journey.
Yeah.
So, and then you may not know this, but one of my favorite things that I try to use as a barometer for me is what I call creative bravery. And I think that, we hold on so tight that success, we don't want anyone to think, that we fail. We don't. Well, the truth of it is, creative bravery for me is that ability to not be perfect, that ability to take risks, to jump off the cliff, so to speak, and to fail or make mistakes, and the freedom in that, to know that if I've given up chasing success on that external, it's really giving my chance to be more myself and to give myself forgiveness, to ask other people to forgive me. And really, when you have learned that the world doesn't stop if you made a mistake or you failed, as long as you are living honestly and honorably. So that really has helped me a lot, being open to that vulnerability, personally. And then I've really tried to carry that into the company as well.
Yeah. One of the programs that I'm teaching and coaching on right now is the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. And the very foundation is trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that trust is built from vulnerability. Like you said, like
Yes.
being able to be vulnerable about, I don't, always have the right answer, or, I could use some help.
Exactly. And I do think vulnerability, and I think COVID, as we began to mask up, we actually began to unmask more than we ever have. And I think that has carried into life after COVID, the ability to let people bring a little bit of that vulnerability into the offices.
Yes. I love that.
We're stuck a lot because we're just so afraid, so worried about what everybody thinks, that when you really say, I don't want to look back and feel like I wasn't brave enough, didn't have that courage to just put myself out there. And that it feels good when you can do that. But you do have to have, like you said, that circle of trust.
Yeah. Is there an example that you would share about when you experienced creative bravery?
Well, I think I experience a lot in our workplace, when you look at all the initiatives we've taken on, et cetera. I think I could parallel it, for me through the years of even starting my business. Again, I had a path. I was in nonprofit. I mean, I really reinvented myself years ago from this sort of, I had a great job. I had all of that, knew what I was doing, and have a master's in social work planning, et cetera. And then I really just hung my shingle up and said, I'm going to be an event planner. And I didn't even know who the caterers were. And if I had to call a mariachi group, I would just break into a sweat. But I think that it all started. This company was based on me just saying, something's telling me I just need to be doing what I love to do. So I think there's so many times in life that I have, not taken the safest of paths, but I knew that I had to listen to my, the little voice inside.
And so when you think about your values, do you have, a handful of core values that you personally rely on to kind of guide you?
that they carry over into, for sure, it's blurred. I have been a person that I tell people, I don't know, sometimes they say you should have boundaries between your personal life and your work life. I'm very proud that I built a family at CE Group. I'm very proud of my commitment to community and family. My biggest value, beside all the things, I mean, I want to be known as hardworking and honest and really good and kind and nice. All those things kind of matter. I think for me, one of the most important things for me is to love what you do. Just love what you do. And it doesn't mean like I happen to be in a flamboyant, creative, out of the box kind of business, but I don't care if whatever you do, if you love Excel spreadsheets or you love accounting, but I think that my big thing is that life is so short, and that you've got, don't give hours of your life away to things that don't fuel you, set you on fire, make you passionate. So I think that has been one of my really core values, is just to lean in to just passion and loving what I do, and just trying to go through life as loud and as fun and as big as I possibly can.
Have you always been that way?
So, yes, I think so. I'm a twin. I have an identical twin sister. And one, I think that I'm full of gratitude that I was born an optimist. We came into the world very optimistic. I'm always that way. I think there's probably people listening to this that are searching for authentic energy. My life has been more about kind of taming my energy, and that continues to be something that I have to look at. And I've lived the most blessed life. I have so many incredible things in my life, but I was handed some hard circumstances. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I've lived with my sister being a survivor. We lost a child. I've had a lot of things that have been difficult, and so I think, like I said, one of my core values is to make sure that there's no woulda, shoulda, couldas. In other words, to embrace not where I'm going, but to really stand on the road I'm on and to really embrace the journey. But at the same time, a personality like mine can live so almost frantic, running through life, cramming it in, not really being as authentic, because you are, you're hitting that because you're so full of gratitude. So that is what I have really been working on, is really trying to make sure that I'm very present, have a lot of clarity about my choices. And I guess my biggest value is to be defined by my good name and my good deeds.
I like that. So you mentioned that and I know from experience that you are high energy. How have you managed to create and maintain just that high level of positive energy? Well,
again, this is also done with great intentionality. I don't know that there's anyone that is more committed to a mind, body, soul connection. And I see my friends, and they may work out and they may do that, but they don't eat right. Like, I try to put the whole thing together. So I try to live with really just doing kind of those things that really make me feel good, make me find joy. So that is really, it's a discipline, it's a practice, but you can't really just do a part of it. You have to put that all together. And that seems to really work for me.
They say how you do one thing is how you do all things.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been reading this book, The 5 a.m. Club, and they talk about, really, if you want to start your day off right, it's really being, like you said, it's like intentional about how you start your day and starting with that positive mindset, so that you can set yourself up for success the rest of the day. And I can see why that intentionality is probably so important for you, because I just envision you like hitting the ground running from the minute you wake up. That you are constantly on the go. So I love to hear that you're not just jumping out of bed and running off, that you really have some.
Yeah, I do have a lot of practice around it. I think that right now the world's kind of a mess. It's hard. And even with this optimistic personality, I wake up in the morning, and when you wake up to, fear and worry, and I'm aging and all of those things. And it's a road. And if you go down that road, oh my goodness. So, but I don't like that road. I like a road that feels joyful and hopeful. And I'm not Pollyanna. And like, even when you love what you do, not every day is a good day, but it is really, I do think there's a a lot to be said for your outlook, for your mindset. And then I work on, I get my sleep, and I eat really well, and I work out, all those things, and you keep working. And some mornings I have to think about what will bring me joy. And sometimes it's finding a new coffee shop. But I think it's those little tiny things. And you always hear this. It's not those big things, it's the moments. And just remembering to breathe. And then I think also thinking of others. I think that, whatever I think I have as issues, there's so many other people that just have it a lot more difficult. And when you can get outside yourself, it really does help.
Yeah. I love that. So wise. So let's shift gears a little bit and
Okay.
about CE Group. So you guys were this year, or 2023, named one of the best places to work and San Antonio Business Journal's top businesses of the year. That is impressive, Janet.
Yeah, it is. I can't believe it, and people are you still working? I'm like, how lucky am I that I am, and that I still love it, and am still so inspired. But I've also begun to really build a great organization with great people, and really entrusting them to, really grab hold of a lot of this. So we're having a good time for sure.
That's awesome. I've heard you talk a lot about mentorship, stewardship, and leadership. Why are these things important for you?
Well, here's the deal, and they're very important. And they're really, I think, at the foundation of, especially now in this chapter of my life, what's really giving me great, great hope. First of all, before I jump into that for a minute, I will tell you, people are always like, why is this working at C Group? Other people are having trouble getting people back. Like, why are y'all at this point where morale is what it is, that it's not so much what we do, it's how we're doing. What's the secret sauce? And I've thought about it a lot. I do think we instill in people, please love what you do. One, we're a hard business. This is not glamorous, even though people think that. So the truth of it is that this is not just a job for people. And so when you know that, it means that you have to do that. I think we lean into team, and we lean into all those things that really relationships, resources, reputation. But without mentorship, leadership, and stewardship, they don't go anywhere. I just recently decided that I was going to add ownership into that. That's my fourth ship, because without accountability, without owning it, you have to feel there's a responsibility and an ownership and accountability from me as the leader, from the people that are being led. It's a two-way street. Mentorship is the thing that makes me the happiest. I used to think that was a straight path. I'm young, and I'm going to have a mentor, and then I'm going to turn around and be the mentor. But you realize, if you're really living a full, wonderful life, you should be in a circle of mentorship every single day. So every day I'm standing on the shoulders of people that came before me. I'm reaching out, still getting advice, still saying, teach me, show me, help me. And at the same time, I'm reaching forward every single day. And so when you're in that circle, it's so amazing, because you can be a mentor and a mentee all at once. And I think why I'm still so engaged is that I know I'm teaching every day and learning, but boy, I'm receiving. And my young ones are teaching me so much. So mentorship, I think, is so important, especially for us women. We have to really, really have kitchen cabinets. We have to ask for help. We have to, really be open to that. Open to the good, the bad, the people telling you things that maybe you didn't want to hear, the hard conversations. And then leadership is one I've always been. My twin sister and I, we've always served. We've been leaders. We've done 1,000 things, but now it's taken on a different kind of a thing for me. It's generational. It's like I'm trying to lead with legacy. I'm trying to lead with inspiration. And then I am trying to continue to learn, new ways, new solutions. But the one that I think is why what I love the most is that I don't think I could ever just have a job. I don't think I could ever just have a job that made me money. If I was not able to give back to my community, if I was not able to be a good steward, if I was not able to serve with the servant heart, I would not be happy. I was raised that way. I was raised around you can take, but you better give. And when you give to get, you're not giving because you're giving out of that giving. That's what opens that up. And that's how I built, because I gave early on. We met through Final Fours and sports, and I donated my time, I volunteered, and then I ended up building my business. And so there's so many things that I feel like mentorship, leadership, and stewardship has taught me.
I love that. It's really kind of that always learning,
mm-hmm.
and then giving back, like you said.
Yes.
It's circular. I think that.
Yes. And then it's fun because I'm the oldest in our group, and I run circles around some of them. The other day I was talking to them. I was trying to teach some of them about Pilates and about, plant-based diets. But, it's just fun. I mean, it's fun when you feel like you're a sponge and
Yes.
get to learn. And then it's fun when you know that people really are, all your experience is you're able to turn that into something. And that's your chapter too, taking all the things, instead of ever being stuck, it's like, what can I really teach in the world and what can I learn? Then you always stay relevant. You always stay current.
And it really is, for me, at least, it's been the switch. It's been finding my purpose, right? Not just, it goes back to that chasing achievement versus what can I do to help others?
Exactly.
Like, not the selfish, what can I get, but what can I give?
Yeah. And when you get outside yourself and you really, and you do it with the purest of intentions, in other words, there's a lot of people that, they're, you cannot do it with an agenda. It just has to be do the right thing. And that's kind of what is one of my values. Do the right thing. Sometimes that's hard, but just always do that. Do good things and be kind, for goodness sakes. Please, the world needs more kind people. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, when you talk about leadership, this topic comes up for me a lot when I work with organizations and with their HR teams and leading different generations. And I know that you have always, since I've known you, just had this diverse group of talent that you pull from and that you work with. And the generations, it's getting, the teams are getting younger. And how do you manage to lead different generations? Is it a one size fits all approach? Do you lead differently?
Well, I do. I think, first of all, I think that we have to really, really understand the generational differences. I always say I'm a small, medium, and large person, and you might be a grande, vente, whatever. Like, we just talk different languages. And, there are things that I had to learn, that, we put work. Sometimes my generation might have put work first, and the younger ones might want to work out before they show up. So all those things, we have to pay attention, and we have to quit stereotyping of saying they don't do this. All the young people, they don't work hard. We really have to, figure that out. So I think it requires a lot of listening. Our office is a good example of that. We've always been a hybrid kind of an office. We're not desk job kind of people, but COVID came along. There are people that are struggling to try to get everybody back to the office. It's not good. And I've had to battle my finger pointing, you need to be in the office. And, but what I've learned is to really listen. And I've learned to say, let's talk solutions. Like, instead of worrying about mandating or requiring, I've been focused on what do we need to do to create the kind of office space people want to come to, so they can collaborate and they can, be a part of that. And so it's made me come up with so many things that really kind of I'm operating on some things that are foreign to me, but it's something that I've learned to pay attention to. And when you can really, again, goes back to that ability to trust each other and the ability to learn from each other, then I think you really can kind of come and meet in the middle, which is great.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think I've decided my word this year, is curiosity. Because when
Yes.
we're curious about others,
Yeah.
we learn from each other. And then someone said the other day to me that judgment kills curiosity.
Yes.
And that's so true. If we judge and say, well, they're this generation and that, it kills our ability to listen, like you say, and learn what they really need so that you
Yeah.
can respond. Yeah.
Just real quickly, I had a funny story. I've learned to keep my mouth shut, not to react too fast, like to take it in before I say, what are we thinking? And one day I came in and we have these big glass walls in our private offices. And one of our head people, creative people, decided to write on the walls, it's like use it like a whiteboard. And of course, I was like, we don't write on the walls, it's just really, but someone stopped me and said, he's the head of creative. He is this really keep your mouth shut and wait till tomorrow to see, what do you think? And then of course, everyone kept coming up to me saying what a great idea it was. And it turns out it's now all of our walls have stuff written and it's cool and it works. And I was wrong. And I would have shut down. I would have just immediately shut down something that didn't need to be shut down. And that's what I find is that when you just wait before you react and really listen, that maybe you can open up some conversations in some spaces and, like you said, better solutions.
That is awesome. And it really leads into my next question. It may even be the answer to the next question. I was going to ask, if you had advice to give to leaders about anything they can do to kind of create an environment that allow others to bring their true self to work. I mean, I think what you just shared is a great example of really, being open to different ideas. That creative leader was able to try something different without being shut down. But anything else that you?
Well, I think that what I've learned is that one, you have to show, like, you can't just say, I'm the oldest, I know the most, you have to respect me. In other words, you've got to earn that trust. You've got to really be in the circle with people. You have to listen. You have to really show that kind of respect. And you have to, again, give them a chance to create solutions. We've got to really commit to communicating, talking, and asking them to understand my perspective. So it's just a lot of, I think, communication, talking, trust, and respect.
I love what you're saying, really how leaders can allow people to bring their authentic energy to work. Anything else, it's such an important topic to me. Anything you would add?
Well, I think at the end of the day, what I want to tell everybody is that if they haven't figured it out, life is very, very short. And life is very precious. It's very fragile. And really, we give hours away, not feeling good about ourselves, not chasing things. And really, the biggest thing is to try to, again, do your very best, live as honorably and as passionately and as joyfully as you can, and be true. Authentic means be true to who you are, and move away if you're giving away too much of your life to things that don't fuel you, don't set you on fire, and don't bring you joy.
I love that.
Amen.
I need you on the show every week.
Yeah. Woo.
Janet, this has been so great having you. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
I loved it. And everybody out there, keep trying to bring that energy.
Thanks, Janet. I appreciate you.
Thank you. This was so fun.
What a great conversation. So many great takeaways. So here they are. Number 1, success is about living a life of significance and value. Number 2, creative bravery is having the vulnerability to not always be perfect, to take risks, and to be okay to fail and find the freedom in that. Having the ability to ask for forgiveness and give the same to others. Number 3, vulnerable trust is a foundation for building a strong team. Number 4, love what you do. If you love Excel spreadsheets or accounting, go for it. Don't give hours of life away to things that you don't enjoy, and lean in with passion. Number 5, make sure that there are no woulda, coulda, shouldas in your life. Embrace not where you're going, but stand on the road you are on and embrace the journey. Number 6, commit to a mind, body, soul connection. Do the things that bring you joy. Number 7, be in a circle of mentorship every single day. Number 8, you can take, but you better give, and give without an agenda. Number 9, always do the right thing. Number 10, multi-generational leadership requires listening without judgment. Number 11, life is precious and fragile. Do your best. Live as passionately and honorably and joyfully as you can. Be true to who you are and move away from things that don't fuel you, set you on fire, and bring you joy. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. It would mean so much. Thank you.